another daily roundup of Russian Telegram chatter. Read the disclaimer below, please. Your like and subscribe is appreciated, it helps with increasing the reach of the channel. On Telegram today. In Moscow, all tickets to watch the Apple presentation in cinemas were sold out in one day. The most expensive seats are comfortable sofa areas for 5,000 rubles. The new iPhones will be available for pre-order in Russia. iPhone 16,128 GB, 115,000 rubles, 512 GB, 160,000 rubles. Plus 128 GB, 135,000 rubles, 512 GB, 180,000 rubles. Pro 128 GB, 155,000 rubles, 1 TB, 230,000 rubles. Pro Max, from 195,000 rubles to 255,000 rubles for 1 TB. Electroshock treatment is making a comeback in Russia. New clinical guidelines will come into force on January 1, 2025, which include electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, in the list of recommended methods of treatment. In the USSR, ECT was used, among other things, as part of punitive psychiatry. Russian banks have begun to sharply raise fees for transferring yuan to other banks, Frank Media noted. In 3 banks, they exceed 6% of the transfer amount. Uralsib Bank warned that it would raise the commission for such transfers to 6.5% from September 13. SDM Bank raised it on Monday, now it is 6.2%, and Expo Bank did this last week. Transferring yuan from it now costs 6.5%. Such fees are comparable to the maximum annual interest rates on yuan deposits in Russian banks, which at best reach 6.5% per annum. The head of the Russian Ministry of Energy, Sergei Sivilev, announced the exhaustion of the electric power industry reserves created during the Soviet era and the lack of funds for the modernization of the industry. The energy system of the Far East is entering the autumn-winter period without the necessary reserve of generating capacity, which is due to the postponement of major repairs of a number of thermal power plants. The Ministry of Energy has classified the Far Eastern Federal District as a region with high risks in the electric power industry. Experts note the high moral depreciation of equipment and the insufficient pace of its renewal. The Russian beer industry is 95 to 97% dependent on imported hops, one of the key ingredients for brewing. Although hops account for only 1.5 to 5% of the cost of beer, they are responsible for bitterness, aroma, and act as a natural preservative. Russian hops cost from €6 to €10 per kilogram, but their cultivation requires a long cycle, the harvest appears only in the 3rd year after planting, and high costs make it unattractive for farmers. Moscow housing rent will increase by another 10% in September to October, experts warn. At the same time, over the year, the cost of rent in the capital has increased by almost 1.5 times. Now it costs an average of 65,000 rubles to rent a 1-room apartment, and 85,000 rubles to rent a 2-room apartment. In August, rental rates soared by 5%, Income Real Estate found out. The birth rate in Russia has fallen to a historic low, Rosstat reports. In the first half of 2024, 599.6 thousand children were born, which is 16.6 thousand less than in the same period of 2023. In June, the number of newborns decreased by 6% to 98.6 thousand, a record low. The natural population decline in the first half of 2024 amounted to 321.5 thousand people, which is 49,000 more than a year earlier, and was partially offset by a 20.1% increase in migration. Ships in the Rostov region cannot move along the Don because the river is shallow. In the Aksisky district, a huge barge got stuck in the bottom sand. Since the water level is critically low, the ship cannot continue moving. The chat is unverified. I do not endorse the views expressed. Be wary of disinformation and DYOR. I monitor and translate Vatnik channels as a general mood check, so you don't have to. Has this content been useful to you? Would you like to see more research and translation content from Beefeater Fella? If you do, and you want to stay up to date with my work, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel now. It takes just a few seconds and it's free. This is really important. Your support and recommendations can make a big difference to the channel.